So earlier there were a few questions addressed to EASA, and I said we would park them. So it was a gateway for questions. But like our gateway, you don't stay there forever. So now comes the time to answer your questions to EASA about what we are doing to improve and simplify our processes in response to input received from industry. So Michaela brought the large perspective on simplification, but Colin is going to provide a deep dive into some more certification-centric activities which are run in parallel to the bigger project that Michaela is running. So Colin, the floor is yours. Just a little point. Just a little question for you. This is called the Monopoly presentation in EASA. And at the coffee break, you will try to tell us if you know why we call it the Monopoly presentation.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm back now in the role of presenter, and here to present you on how we're doing with all these initiatives, because over the past years, we've always collected feedback from you. Some of them we've implemented, you may not be aware. Others we're still very much working on, and you might be saying, well, what's happening to all of these initiatives? So looking at some of the feedback we've been getting over the years, so stakeholder feedback, if I look down there at the bottom left, this is what I'm referring to, we've collected over many years. Now, in terms of monopoly, stakeholders don't only have the monopoly on feedback, we've also got some quite good ideas inside EASA that we're trying to implement, both for the benefit of ourselves and for our stakeholders. Then going up, the one in red is the new ways of working towards operational-centric certification. So this one was mentioned briefly this morning by Maria, and there was quickly a Slido question saying, can you tell us more about this? So if we look more at this, today when we look at the aviation system, we have essentially, we're looking at these 4 boxes. So we have product certification with the manufacturer, with EASA and FAA as the counterparts. We have training approvals, again, EASA, FAA, and the training provider. We have operational approvals with the NAA and the operator. And we have airspace and design integration involving Eurocontrol and airports and ANSPs. And today we already have the first link between those first 2 boxes in the form of OSD, operational suitability data, to close down and work a bit better together on integrating the systems. But going forward with innovation, everybody these days, they come forward with new functions, new architectures, new operations, new technologies. And sometimes it's not so easy to fit these just across the boxes in the system that we have today. So what we are looking at in this concept is a CONOPS, so concept of operations. And this CONOPS could be used to explain for the system of interest, which could be a system, a new system, innovative system, or could be for a new type of aircraft, such as an eVTOL, for example. And it could contain things like operational principles, what are the operational scenarios and use cases, what are the assumptions for this product, both regulatory and also operational environmental impacts. What is the development planning for this product, and what are the threats and hazards that are specific to this new innovative product? And from this, you can come to the case of a global safety objective, where it can identify the contribution of each of the aviation domains and the safety barriers, while also accepting that there is some form of residual risk which cannot be mitigated, but remains acceptable. And therefore, within the rulemaking, there's maybe a need that we need to look at to standardize the notion of CONOPS and make it recognized. And then when you have such a product that's going across this way that needs to encounter all these, then you also need the interaction in this project with these 4 different areas. And then what better than these 4 areas than to operate as one team that can take holistically the product and its training and its operations and its integration into airspace and how that is all impacted with the product with one team that is operational from the very beginning. So this is a very quick, you could talk obviously for hours about this, so it's a very quick snapshot of one of the initiatives that we are looking and trying to see how can we fit this in our framework. So going back to this, as I'd not previously finished all the inputs, we also have the SAB proposals on EASA simplifications for enhanced efficiency. So these were coming from following the fees and charges regulation. Feedback from the SAB was, okay, we understand the changes, but you need to at the same time look at efficiencies within your system. It can't be that the costs just continually go up faster than we can cope. So these were another input. They don't just affect certification. In fact, they're coordinated overall within our SM directorate, but a certain number of those are coming towards certification, and we within certification then need to look at those. And then finally, as already mentioned in this session, EASA Rule Simplification Program, again led from with SM, which will have an impact on initial airworthiness and what we can do towards that. So then what we've been doing is taking all of these inputs and then trying to find out, because a lot of the inputs are bringing ideas that are the same or very similar or very close. So we are then distributing these between certification processes, DOA processes, rules and guidance, operation-centric certification, as just highlighted, international aspects, digitalization, and resources. So then to give you an idea of what we're looking at within these different areas. So if we start there on certification processes, I quite often mention here continuous improvement. We've had over a number of years. A lot of this captures the small feedback that we've been getting at these conferences, and we try and put those somehow into the system in whichever way is the most appropriate. Then we mention here planning and project management. You may remember in the past we presented on what we called agility. So how can we be more predictable with our resources matching your needs on your projects? So this is something that we're still very much working on, and we've received also similar feedback. Predictability is a big thing for those of you who are trying to get your project certified. Green project efficiency, this was also coming out of the agility, but green projects, what we're referring to in the agility framework is the smaller, more standardized kind of projects. So we're not talking about TC projects or significant changes, but we're talking about the other end of things. There's the standard major changes, STCs, where really it can sometimes be a bit like a factory where we have large numbers of projects and we need to process them much more efficiently. And so we're looking into how we can do this. Certification teams, how do we have the right size team for the right project? Not to apply too large a team for something that is essentially quite a simple project. So we need to be proportionate in terms of the team we provide. LOI and performance measurement, again, this is something that came through the SAB enhanced efficiency proposals, but as also how can we make the system really work to the most efficiency. DOA coverage, what can be covered under DOA versus what can be covered under the certification process. And then we're looking at ways of working, and some of this was coming from new ways of working towards operation-centric certification, but there was also receiving similar comments on how we work in terms of with the applicant, etc., in other areas, so we're looking at this. CREs and CERT memos, so here we're looking at a number of different aspects. We're looking at how we can more efficiently handle those within the EASA so that we spend less time and less internal resources on those. But we're also making sure, how can we have less CREs on a project? So this was something that was raised earlier by Rebecca. We don't always need the large number of CREs, and there must be other ways of doing that. And then the final point there is developing KPIs, because we need to have some way of measuring our efficiency and how we're doing on that. So it's another important aspect. It looks very small, it's the final one, but ultimately it's the only way in the end that we can actually tell that we are making a difference. Then if I go across and look at DOA process, so again, there are some continuous improvement ones, and there is also a risk-based oversight of about applying the right oversight based on the risk. There is the AG006, which is reporting to the AG005, and they are looking at things like, as already mentioned, how to get the best out of certain major changes. They're looking at flight permits for production aircraft, and they're also looking at other aspects. So, but there are a number of different ones in there that they're looking at. We're looking also in there at DOA privileges and also DOA audits and standardization. How can we be more predictable in those sort of areas? Moving to rules and guidance. Again, this time under continuous improvement, some things we're trying to implement so that we can have more transparency, so that you can, for example, see what are we planning to issue in the near future in terms of either cert memos or rule changes beyond what we have in the EPAS today, to provide that sort of level there. Already mentioned Part 21 Light. We need to see what we can learn from the Mosaic and how we can improve Part 21 Light. New ETSO concept has already been mentioned several times, simplification. Again, Part 21 regular update. We had some details in the regulatory update presentation earlier. And proportionality. We need to ensure we're proportional with our rules. Again, it was something that was brought up by Rebecca earlier on today, and it's something we're keen to try and implement as far as possible. International, we already had a lot of the comments we receive in relation to international are pretty much all going in the same way. How we can leverage more from our international partners, how we can rely more on them, how we can have a more streamlined validations for simplified low-risk projects, these kind of aspects. And all this work is pretty much handled through the certification management team, and that's where we will continue to look at that. Digitalization. So again, I won't add much more here. We had a presentation from digitalization earlier. So I think you all saw that this is a big theme across, and the FAA mentioned it as well. So it's something where we are trying to look to improve on our side and shortcoming. Then operational centric certification. So I just presented a bit on that. So again, how can we implement this? Can we do this on some pilot projects to see how it works? Check what are the barriers in the rules today and what will need to be changed going forward. And then finally, on resources. So here we're looking about things like knowledge management, competence management, but we're also looking about mindset of people within EASA, sometimes also on the applicant side, because for sure in some cases it works both ways, but how can EASA have a more innovative mindset, a more better proportionality mindset towards addressing these sort of things? So this is very much, how can they learn about industry tech? How can we look at things like simulation going forward in certification to allow and increase our knowledge also internally within EASA on these sort of aspects? So these are all the aspects we're trying to address. And with that, I've come to the end of my presentation.
So thank you, Colin. We have a bit of time for a few questions. So I'm moderating this morning's moderator, so it's moderated square, the most moderate session in the history of conferences. So you have a mic.
Yes.
So there was only one question so far. It's quite specific, yeah?
I mean, I'm not an expert on Part Cat, so I have to say to start with. But yeah, I mean, the idea is we are looking at how, going forward and how this sort of message of being taking a global safety objective overall. So, and I know, for example, they are looking for operational reserves there. I know that they are looking at this because it's an area of energy and battery and power consumption versus traditional fuel. So it is an area that we're looking at. And I would say we're a bit too early in the days for ConOps to say whether there will be an actual leap across from that. But it's certainly something that we can learn and look at going forward.
Thank you. Any more questions? Anyone has a clue why we call it a Monopoly presentation? No? at the coffee break, maybe. Okay, so then, if there is no more question, I will thank Colin. What I suggest is that we reconvene 10 minutes earlier, in that case, at 10 to 4, after the coffee break. So thanks a lot, Colin, and see you all in half an hour for the panel.